Namaste. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Welcome to yet another episode on exploring the Sanatana Dharma series, an initiative by Aham Brahmasmi Foundation, a unit of Dakshinamnaya Sharada Pitha Sringeri. In today's session, we will have an introduction to Advaita Vedānta, assimilate its ideas and knowledge, and get to know the relationship between us and the Almighty. And finally, we'll get to know how to incorporate these ideas in our day-to-day lives. Today, we have with us a young scholar, Shri Shankararama Sharmaji, who is a dedicated researcher at IISc Bangalore and a profound Sanskrit scholar who holds an MA in Advaita Vedānta. Guided by his scholarly family, he holds numerous discourses, spiritual discourses regarding Vedanta in multiple languages. He is also a Shastra scholar and manager of AI initiatives at Vyoma Linguistic Labs. A warm welcome to you, Shankararama Sharmaji.
Namaste. We will begin with a short prayer to Gurus and Bhagavan. Yasyantannādimadhyam nahi karacharanam nama gotram na sutram no jatirnaiva varna na bhavati purusho na napumsam na chastri nakaram no vikaram nahi janimaranam nasti punyam na papam tatvanno tattvamekam sahaja samarasam sadgurum tam namami Sadashiva samarambham Shankaracharya madhyamam Asmadacharya paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Maunavyakhya Prakadita Parabrahma Tattvam Yuvanam Varishishthante Vasadrishiganeravritam Brahmanishthaihi Acharyendram Karakalita Chinmudramanandamurtim Svatmaramam Muditavadanam Dakshinamurtimide Yontah pravishya mama vachamimam prasuttam sanjeevayatyakila shaktidharasvadhamna anyamscha hastacharana śravaṇatvagādīn prāṇān namo bhagavate purushāya tubhyam mūkaṁ karoti vācālam pangum langhayate girim yatkripātamaham vande paramānandamadhavam mātāmaho mātarancha pitarancha pitāmaho Matulancha Gurun Sarvan Vandeham Jnana Siddhaye.
So, to begin our first question, what does Advaita Vedānta actually mean? And how is it different from the other ways of looking at the world?
It's a very grand question to begin with, and a very important question at that. So, the term that you have used, Advaita Vedānta, consists of two words, Advaita and Vedanta. So, first we will look at the Vedanta part of it, and then we will come to the Advaita part of it. Across centuries, rather millennia, from the beginning of human civilization, there has always been this thought of why are we here, what is this world, and many seers, many ancient people have also been thinking of this. Broadly, there have been two categories, one in the western part of the world and one in the eastern part of the world. In the western part, it has mostly been, usually they used to call this the Occidental way of looking at things, the Occidental philosophies, where you look outside and try to find out what is the nature of existence, why are we here, what is reality, and all these questions. By outside, what I mean is, you try to analyze things that we perceive through our senses, whatever we see, whatever we smell, and these are the things that we try to analyze. When we compare it with the Eastern philosophies, which are also called as Oriental philosophies, the importance here is more on the subject. By subject, I mean the person who is observing all these things. So, where the importance in the Western philosophies is on the things that are observed, that is the objects of whatever we are looking at, the Eastern philosophies concentrate more upon the person who is looking at those objects. And this is just a broad classification, there are overlaps here and there. So, among the philosophies, the Bharatiya philosophies especially, we are calling it philosophy for a lack of a better word in English. They are rather termed as darshana. Darshana means a perspective of looking at things, and it is a holistic school of thought. That is a way you can translate it, but whenever we use the word philosophy in relation to Bharatiya darshanas, we mean darshana only. So, these Bharatiya darshanas there are so many various darshanas that are there, and all these have actually been compiled by Vidyaranya Swami in one of his books. Like this, all these Bharatiya darshanas, they concentrate on the subject, the observer himself. Among this is the school of Vedanta. Whatever we see, the practice of Hinduism as we call it today, that we see that is prevalent across the world today, are all one or the other school of Vedanta. Though there are so many Bharatiya philosophies that are available, so many people would have heard of Sankhya, Nyaya, or Yoga, for example. All these are various darshanas. Nevertheless, any practice of Sanatana Dharma or Hinduism that we see today, behind that you will have one of the schools of Vedanta that gives it the whole backing. So, this Vedanta itself has been interpreted in various ways by various Mahatmas across the centuries, and hence we have Dvaita way of interpreting, the Vishishtadvaita way of interpreting the Vedanta, the Shuddhadvaita or Achintya Bheda Bheda. Like this, there are various schools of interpretations. So, what do we mean by Vedanta? When we just say Vedanta, the simple definition of that in the text is given as Vedanto nama Upanishad Pramanam. That which has for its authority, for its knowledge, it derives its knowledge from what we call as the Upanishad. These Upanishads are actually a part of the Vedas. The Vedas, which are the foundation of the whole of Sanatana Dharma, the Upanishads are a part of them. They are called as Vedanta because of two things. So, the first interpretation is they usually come at the end of Vedanta in terms of the book itself. So, when you study the Veda, the brahmacharis who have Upanayana, they study the Vedas. So, at the end of the Vedic studies, that is where most of the Upanishads are. But that does not mean all the Upanishads come only at the end. It is usually like that, and hence the word Anta can be termed as the end of the Vedas or the last portion of the Vedas. But the more important and exact definition, Anta means the highest knowledge. The goal of something is called as Anta. So, the whole goal of the Vedas is to give you this knowledge that is contained in the Upanishads, and hence all the Upanishads put together are called as the Vedanta. And therefore, whatever knowledge we derive from these Upanishads are called as Vedanta primarily, and the books themselves are also called as Vedanta since they give us this knowledge. From these Upanishads, Maharishi Vedavyasa, he wrote a set of sutras or aphorisms, meaning they are short sayings which are called as the Brahma Sutras, which bring all this knowledge that is contained in these Upanishads in a very logical manner, one after the other. There are a lot of sutras that are given like this. These Brahma Sutras are very short sayings and very terse, meaning it is very difficult to, even if you know Sanskritam, you cannot just read through the Brahma Sutras and understand what is being said. You require certain commentary and explanation as to what is being said in those sutras. So, that is Brahma Sutras by Maharishi Vedavyasa. Then we have the Bhagavad Gita by Bhagavan himself, which was given as Upadesha to Arjuna in the battlefield of Kurukshetra. These three together form the three foundational texts of Vedanta as we know it today, and they are called as the Prasthana Traya. Traya means three things. Prasthana, you could say they are the foundational texts. So, one is the Upanishads that are a portion of the Vedas, the second being the Brahma Sutras of Vedavyasa, and third being the Bhagavad Gita. So, this structure for Vedanta was probably first given by Adi Shankaracharya himself, because the first complete commentaries for all these three texts that are available are from Adi Shankaracharya. And hence the schools, all other schools of Vedanta that we see, and anybody else who has interpreted Vedanta in a different light, have all interpreted these three main granthas with their own perspectives and interpretations for these three granthas. And mainly the Brahma Sutras form the core, because they bring all the Upanishadic knowledge in a certain logical framework. Now, this being the core of Vedanta, now what is Advaita Vedanta? Where does it stand among all these different Vedantas that are there? So, whenever we say Advaita Vedanta, immediately the person that comes to our mind is Bhagavan Adi Shankaracharya, Bhagavad Pada. That does not mean Advaita began with Adi Shankaracharya. Adi Shankaracharya was not the first person to talk about Advaita. The Advaitic knowledge has always existed. It is there starting from the Upanishads itself and the Maharishis and Brahma Rishis who have seen the truth. So, it is not something new or some new philosophy that was expounded by Bhagavad Pada. Rather, as we were seeing, Bhagavad Pada was probably the person who gave it this structure, and he wrote these detailed commentaries upon various Upanishads and the Brahma Sutra and Bhagavad Gita, because of which we are able to delve into them and understand them. Even today we have that available. So, it is an anugraha of Bhagavad Pada that we have this whole system today. So, the structure of the system, the philosophical structure that is there, and the depth for the philosophy was given by Adi Shankaracharya, no doubt, and hence we call him as Advaita Mata Sthapanacharya Namaha, and such similar names are there for Bhagavad Pada. The worldview of Advaita is different from various other philosophies in that it is very courageous and absolutely it flips our whole perspective. Any person that is born in this world looks at the world in duality. By duality, I mean, as soon as you are born, you see so many things around you. Let us say you are not educated, you are not taught about anything. Not only humans, anything, any creature that is born, any living being that is born, it is able to see duality. I mean, there are so many other things other than myself that I am seeing. So, Bhagavad Pada in his Bhashya says, this Dvaita is, there is no need to teach Dvaita at all. Any creature that is born already has this knowledge of Dvaita. What is the necessity for Upanishads to come and teach you Dvaita? Jatamatra prani buddhi gamyatvat Dvaitam na upadesha arham. It is not even worthy of being taught. Upadesha arham na. Because any creature that is born, it can be animal, it can be plant, anything that seems to have consciousness can see multiplicity. It is able to see. For our own selves, we are able to see so many people around us. We deal with so many objects, animate or inanimate, living, non-living. So many objects are there. We deal with all these objects. So, this Dvaita is very much there. What is the necessity for some grantha, some esoteric teaching to come and teach you that there are so many different things? What it has to teach you is the oneness in all of this. And hence this Advaitic teaching, and the word Advaita is also beautiful. See, when Dvaita is there, it clearly shows multiplicity. In Advaita, we say no two. It does not say one. It rather says non-dual. That is how we translated it in English as the non-dual system. It is not monotheistic. It is non-dual system. Why is this distinction important? Because whenever you say two, it is clearly understandable. When you say one, immediately you think of something that is a whole big mass or something that is infinite, or many different comprehensions come within us. But whenever you say something as one, that immediately leads to something else that could be there. Because from 1 comes 2 or any other number, when you see all numbers emanate from this 1. The point that is being said here by Advaita is there is nothing to count at all. When you try to count 1, there is a person who is counting that. What Advaita is trying to say is that non-dual thing is the person who is counting. that single thing that exists, you cannot even call it one, because there is nothing other than that to even call it as one. And hence it comes up with this terminology of showing it as Advaita, and hence it is not called as Eka. Yes, there are adjectives like this in the Upanishad, Ekam, Shivam, Advaitam and so on. But that Advaita, the word is so deep because it comes up with this non-dual interpretation, where it shows that everything that exists comes from the same Brahma Vastu. Brahman, we will be seeing as we go on, we will be using this terminology, is that is the reality that is there, and there is nothing other than Brahman that exists. And hence this Advaita Vedanta is this interpretation of all the Upanishads and the texts that we have in the light of the Advaitic school of thought. We call it the Advaita Vedanta, which Bhagavad-pada has given us, and all the Acharyas in his parampara have continued to bear the torch of that Advaitic parampara.
Thank you so much. So, getting to know about the non-dual nature, it props up the next question. So, all the Advaita gurus say that there is one reality, one Brahman, as you were mentioning. But when we clearly see so many things, how can we say that there is only one reality?
This question clearly follows from whatever explanation we saw. So, in our experience, it is very clear that there are so many different things. This is almost like, as I said, it is flipping the whole viewpoint and saying that there is only one, which immediately does not make any sense at all. I clearly experience so many things, then how can you tell something that is exactly opposite to what I am experiencing? That does not make sense to me. In Advaita, any concept that we understand, there are beautiful examples given by all our traditional scholars, and hence for any question we can take up an example and try to understand it through that example. The example will not always tell the whole this thing, but it always gives us an idea about how to approach the question and answer. Now the question was, we see so many things, but how can you say it is one? Here we take the example of gold. Many of us know that from gold various ornaments are made. So we have the earring, we have a ring on our finger, a necklace could be made, a bracelet could be made. So there are so many different things that could be made from gold. Now all these different things are made from gold, but the real existing single reality is only gold. There is nothing other than gold that is present in any of these things. Let us say there is a huge jewelry shop, and the thief has managed to enter and break into the jewelry shop. This is also an example in the Shastras. So when he goes into the jewelry shop, all the gold ornaments are lying around there. He will not see which ornament to take or what to do. He will just take all the ornaments and go away. For him, whatever he looks at, it is all gold. There is no difference at all. Contrast to this, we as a buyer, if we go into the shop, let us say you want a necklace and you go into the shop, you would start looking at different kinds of necklaces, the designs that are present, and what is the weight probably, or what is the hand craftsmanship that is there, and so many other ways of choices we have. Then we go there as a customer to buy a necklace. What we see is multiplicity. We see so many different options. We want only one of those options, and we try to choose among various things. So these are the options that we see. We as a customer are seeing multiplicity, but when the objects are really same, there is nothing, no difference in the objects. Now when the thief enters, he does not see any of this. All he sees is gold, gold everywhere, it's only gold for him, and what he needs is only that. So like that, even though we think that there is multiplicity all around, what exists is only a single reality, and that is that Brahma Vastu, and there is nothing other than that reality that exists. So just like, and through all these ornaments, what you see is only name and form. This is very important to understand. Even when we look at a necklace, we call it as a necklace. The same necklace, when melted and you give it a different shape, it probably becomes a bracelet. Now you call it a bracelet. Was there any change between the necklace and the bracelet in reality? Only the name and form has changed. Previously you were calling it a necklace, now you call it a bracelet. But the vastu, the thing of which it is made of, has no change at all in its properties or anything. If it was 20 grams before, it is going to remain as 20 grams now. There is absolutely no change in either its internal properties or anything. Only the name and form have changed, and hence whatever names we use, it is all referring only to the form of that gold that is present. And well, previously also you would have called it as gold, now also you have to call it as gold, and there is nothing there other than gold. All that exists is only gold. Similarly, in this world, there are so many things that are present. You might see animals, you might see human beings, you might see animate objects, inanimate objects, houses, trees, cars, whatever, man-made, natural. All these things are appearances on that Brahmavastu itself. Only that Brahmavastu exists, that which is real, only that Parabrahmavastu exists, and there is nothing other than that. Just like we are seeing a ring or a necklace or something in the gold itself, like that all this whole jagat, this whole creation, that is what Vedanta says, the whole creation appears in that Brahmavastu, and there is nothing other than that Brahmavastu. So, this is how there is no multiplicity, but there is only a single Vastu. This is how Advaita Vedanta brings out its philosophy of oneness.
Continuing on the same lines, if everything is one, no distinctions, if everything is one, then where do you and I fit into this picture?
Beautiful question. Here, you and I, what we mean here is, I clearly know that I exist. Nobody has any doubt upon this. Any person, even a small child, when you ask what is your name, my name is, he knows that I exist, whatever it is, the name, my name is Rama or something like that. So, everybody knows the existence of I. And we all see this difference, that there is somebody other than that, whoever speaks to us or whoever we interact with, there is a you. Okay. This is what we mean by I and you. So, there are two different entities at least. Then how can we still say that there is only a single entity? The gold example aside, how can we say this? Now, we go to a different example, a more intimate example, so to say, and this is there in all our experiences. Let us say we go to sleep in our own homes and we start dreaming. Many people can dream probably without sleeping also, it is called daydreaming. And nevertheless, let us say you are lying on the bed and you have gone into dreams, swapna. And in this dream, remember that you are lying on the bed, this body of yours is not doing anything. And all these external senses that you have, your eyes, your ears, all this has shut down. Whatever happens outside, you are not going to know. Whatever sound or anything, you do not know unless it wakes you up. So, in this dream state where you have gone into your dreams, now you create a whole different world there. In this world, it could be anything that you create. Probably it seems like you are going to office every day, or you let us say the same situation we are in, we are talking to each other and sitting there. In that dream, we know that nobody other than us exists. Clearly from our own experience, we know that we are the only person that is there. Rather, I should say, I am the only person that exists in the dream. But other than me, now I have created a whole jagat there, animate, inanimate, all the trees that I see, the inanimate objects that I see, the other people that I see, the people who I interact with, all of them have been created by myself. In that dream also, when you interact with somebody else, you still say you and I. During the dream, when you speak to somebody else, you do not think that I am speaking to myself. You know, you still there, the feeling is that you are speaking to somebody else, they are replying back to you, and this is the kind of feeling that you have. Now, when you wake up and you go ask them, did you come and speak to me? They obviously do not have such an experience. So, the person who existed in the dream was only myself. There was nobody other than myself in that dream who existed. This is very clear from our own experience. But at the same time, when you experienced in the dream, you did not think that I am the only person. You were still able to probably take a glass of water and drink it. And maybe you were thirsty in the dream and you took up a glass of water and drank it. And the dream thirst was quenched by this dream water. That dream thirst can only be quenched by this dream water. If somebody pours water on you while sleeping, it will not quench the dream thirst. You will probably wake up, but it will not quench the dream thirst. Similarly, if you have a doubt in the class during the dream, you have to ask the dream teacher the doubt. Only then the doubt will get cleared. So, all this interaction between you and I and this multiplicity that we see is clearly seen. It is almost like a replay in the dream. In dream, we are able to create this multiplicity. But when we wake up, what do you know? You know that I was only one. There was nobody else who existed in the dream. So, what we are coming to here is, whatever was created in the dream, let it be stone, let it be another person. For all this, who was the material cause? By material cause, what we mean is, who made all those things up? See, if I have to make a certain structure, to make this structure that exists around us, we need stones, we need cement, we need iron and all that. You had a similar structure in the dream also. Where did I get the material for all those things? All those raw material was also created by myself. And whenever I interacted with another person, I knew that I am a conscious being. The other person interacting with me, or it could have been a set of audience also. You could have been giving a speech in front of hundreds of people, and there are hundreds of people sitting in front of you. Who is the consciousness in all those 100 people in front of you in the dream? It is yourself. Who is the consciousness in between in each one of them? So, there also you know I and you. There are so many other yous that are present. And though I am the only one present in the dream, I still see so much multiplicity of consciousness. I see multiplicity of animate and inanimate things. I see Dvaita Bhava there also. But when you wake up, you clearly know that you are the only person and there is nothing else that was there in the dream. You did not take anything from the waking state there inside. You did not take any object there. But still you were able to create that whole Jagat there and still deal with it like a multiplicity. So, this is the beautiful example. We see this across various bhashyas or various stotras also, where Shankaracharya repeats this again and again, that this whole Jagat that we see is like that Swapna. You have this experience almost every day, this Swapna Jagat that you are creating. Similar to that, without realizing your true identity as Brahman, as that Atman, you have created this whole Jagat, this whole creation that you see exists in that consciousness, that I, which I refer to as myself, that I, this whole Jagat exists in that consciousness. Hence, this appears as multiplicity. In Swapna also, what you see, when you wake up, what do you say? Oh, it was all an appearance. There is no reality to it. But during the dream, you did not feel that it was not reality. Maybe a tiger was chasing you, or there is a car, you are in an accident. You didn't think, oh, it is only an accident, there is nothing that happened to me. That time probably you were bleeding and you were screeching for help. Or if a tiger is chasing you, you are running away. Maybe you jump off a cliff and you still feel all that fear and all the emotions that you might feel, whether happy or sad or frightened, all the emotions you go through. But when you wake up, what do you say? Oh, that was just a dream. All that is not real. But during the dream, it never felt like that. Similarly, all this feels real. But when you realize your real existence as that Chid Vastu, as Brahman, then you know that all this is very similar to a dream. Swapna Sankalpa Kalpam. It is very similar to a dream, and that is all is the reality for this whole multiplicity that we see. And hence, whether it is you or I, it is all a reflection of this Atman that is there within each one of us, and that is a single Atman that is there across.
So, as I understand from this answer, the waker is the dreamer.
Correct.
With the same Atman in him.
Correct.
Coming to the next question. In Advaita, the self, Atman, and the absolute, Brahman, is said to be one. But how can I, me, be the same as that infinite?
Again, a very practical question. Whenever we say I or Atman, or we refer to the self, immediately we think of this limited individual, meaning I am this person, a certain person, and I have certain capabilities, whether it is intellectual capabilities, physical capabilities. I have a limitation on my capabilities. You might be a dullard or an extremely intelligent person, but still you have some limit to your intelligence. Similarly, to your strength, physical strength that you have a certain limit. But that Brahman, whenever we tell about the word Brahman, immediately we know it is something that is infinite. The word Brahman itself comes from the dhatu brih, which means something that is so huge and that is vast. And the word Brahman means something that is infinite. So, me who am this small self, how can this be that infinite self? So, this question immediately arises, and this needs clarification from the Advaitic standpoint. Again, we will take a different example here to understand this perspective. Let us say there is a huge ocean, we are standing on the beach, and that ocean in front of you is vast and infinite, as far as you can see. And in this ocean, there are so many waves that are there, and each wave is a small part of the ocean. So, these waves that are there, you call them as waves, but each of that wave has no separate existence from the ocean. Whenever you say ocean, all these waves are included in that word. But when you say a wave, it refers to a certain name and form that you are giving to that part of the water, probably rising and going down and all this. But this analogy, Shankaracharya brings it out wonderfully in his Shatpadi Stotra. Satyapi bhedapagame natha tavaham na mamakīnastvam samudrohitarangaha kvachana samudro na tarangaha. Satyapi bhedapagame. Yes, there is no bheda between the Atman and that Paramatma. There is no doubt at all. Because in that wave and ocean example, each wave is separate, no doubt. But what is the wave made of? Water. What is the whole ocean made of? Water. When you look at it as water, there is no difference at all. You cannot differentiate ocean from the wave, and there is no separate existence for a wave other than the ocean. So, this assumption that I am separate from Brahman is due to ignorance. This limitation that you have upon yourself is because of identification with this physical body and mind, saying that I am only this limited person. But there is actually no difference at all in terms of the vastu, that chit, consciousness, that awareness that is there, that Brahman is same as the Atman. There is no difference at all. But when you start looking at it with this identification, we call it as upadhi, you have a certain limitation to that which you start giving, then you feel that this is different from that, just like the wave and the ocean. So, now a lot of people, they have a confusion with Advaita Vedānta, that this person has started saying that I am God, and they say that how can you be God? This is almost blasphemous to say that I am God, and it becomes like Hiranyakashipu. The Hiranyakashipu and all, they were claiming the same thing, that I am God. How are you any different from that person then? And even in Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavan says that saying that I am God is an asuric quality. Ishvaroham aham bhogi, when you say, that is an asuric quality. How can you say that I am God? That is not what you are saying. So, that again Shankaracharya clarifies in this verse, Satyapi bhedapagame. Bheda apagama means there is no bheda. In what sense? In the sense that the whole water is same. Whether you are this identified body, the chit in this body is same as that vastu, there is no difference at all. But when you look at it in the form of God as Ishvara and yourself, then you are a servant of Ishvara. Rather, you have to bow down before Ishvara. because you are the wave. The wave is not as powerful as the ocean. The wave is a small part of the ocean. It is limited only in its capacity. When it identifies itself as the water, then it has no different from the whole water. But as far as it is identifying itself as wave, that means as far as I identify myself as body and mind, I am only a plaything in the hand of Ishvara. Natha tava aham. I am yours. Na mamaki nastvam. You are not mine. Because samudrohi tarangaha. The taranga, the wave, is a part of the ocean. Kvachana samudro na tarangaha. The whole ocean does not emanate from the wave. It is not a part of the wave. Rather, the wave is a part of the ocean. Similarly, when we see it as the reality as the chid vastu, then it is a single entity all across. There is everything is only an appearance on that entity, like we saw in our dream example. But when you start identifying with this body, when Hiranyakashipu said, I am God, he was referring to his sharira, that all of you have to give that bali to me, or you have to worship me, you have to say Hiranyakashipave namaha. That is not what we are referring. You cannot worship that particular body. Similarly, when we do worship of any person who is reverential to us, when we respect our own gurus, for example, we look at them as Shankaracharya, Swarupa themselves, we see the divine Parabrahma Vastu in them. When we worship an idol in the temple, the deity in the temple, we see that existing Chid Vastu that is there all across in that deity, which is there in that Archavatara that is there. So, whoever we respect, and when we worship that person, we worship that Parabrahma Vastu that exists over there, and we worship that reality that exists all across. So, we are not worshipping that limited body and mind over there. So, if we look at a guru as just that limited body and mind, then it is difficult to go beyond that. What we have to see in that Sadguru of ours is that Chid Vastu, that Parabrahma Vastu, that Ishvara Vastu that is there everywhere. And that is how Advaita beautifully brings out that this Atman and Brahman are same. As far as you identify yourself with this body and mind and this limited existence, you still do not have that jnana. When you get that ekatva jnana, then there is no differentiation. There is nothing at all to even say that I am God or I am Brahman. There is nothing. There is no I and Brahman there. In that Advaita jnana sthiti, you cannot say I and Brahman. This Mahavakya Aham Brahmasmi is to show that you and Brahman are non-different. Not the two different Vastu, I am equating both. They are exactly the same Vastu, to show that non-difference, and hence the word non-dual, hence that Vakya Aham Brahmasmi also comes about. So, just like the water is same across the whole ocean, that way the Atman and Brahman are exactly the same, and there is no difference at all.
So, to make myself clear, the wave exists because of the ocean.
Correct.
So, the waves are Atman and the ocean is Paramatman, the Brahman.
Correct.
Okay, and be it whatever form, be it a tiny speck of water, it's still a limited entity.
Correct.
And the idol worship, what you were telling, it is the ideal behind that idol that we are worshipping.
Correct.
The tattva behind that.
Yes.
So, coming to the next question, how to take this Advaita concepts with us? Like, do we have to reject our everyday goals, relationships, and ambitions and go to Himalayas?
Very nice question. So, immediately when we think of Advaita, or we listen to this concept of jnana, we immediately think that we have to give up everything and then probably run away somewhere to the forest or the Himalayas, as you said, and sit in meditation. But that is not what is intended here. You see, we talked about Bhagavad Gita in the beginning. The person who is giving the Upadesha of Bhagavad Gita is Jagadguru Sri Krishna. The person who is receiving this is Partha Arjuna. The person who is giving Upadesha is a Mahagrihastha. He has the whole city of Dwaraka to rule over, and he has 16,000 odd wives. So he has a huge grihastha. He has not escaped from any responsibility. The person who is receiving this Upadesha is Arjuna, who is also a Mahakshatriya, who is also a ruler, and who also has a big garhasthya. That is, he also has his own life and responsibilities to take care of. And this Bhagavad Gita is a Upadesha of that Advaita Jnana. The person who is giving Upadesha is a grihastha. The person who is receiving the Upadesha is also a grihastha. The person who was receiving the Upadesha actually had this thought in his mind. So he began Gita saying, I am going to run away from all this. And he said, no, I will take a bowl in my hand and I will go begging. I am not going to do any of this war. After listening to the whole Gita, he said, no, I will do as you said, I will fight this war. So clearly, the Advaita Jnana is not to run away from any responsibilities that is there in this world. All the relationships that we have, all the responsibilities that we have are all to be continued in the same manner. There is no rejection of anything at all. The problem here is only ignorance of our own self. And anywhere where ignorance is a problem, knowledge is the antidote. For ignorance, always knowledge. If I do not know about something, then I get to know about that thing. To know about something, you do not have to run away somewhere, you do not have to reject everything else. So, even after getting all this jnana, Jagadguru Sri Krishna itself, who was a jnani, we look at him as a jnani, all through his life he had so many troubles. And all through his life he went through with a smiling face only. From the day he was born, where he is born in a jail, and then immediately he goes to his foster parents, and then he leads a life there and he comes back. He runs away from Mathura because of attacks, and then he establishes a city elsewhere till the last day of his life, where his own family, all his people, the kingdom that he has created, they are fighting against each other and dying when he decides to give his body up. So it is a struggle, constant struggle, politics and diplomacy and whatnot through his life. Through all this, but when we see Krishna, we see him as that person with the flute in his hand and happily singing and dancing. That is how we look at him. That Advaita Jnana is the foundation because of which they are able to stay like that. So, whether it is Krishna himself who performed so many activities through his avatara, or Shankaracharya, he was a sannyasi even externally. He had the Kashaya Vastra, he took up the sannyasa in the Vaidika Marga. Nevertheless, he continued all his responsibilities in this world. Because of him, we have all the bhashyas today, so many stotra granthas, so many various prakarana granthas. The whole literature that we have has all begun from Adi Shankaracharya. The Sanatana Dharma thrives today because of him. He was able to do so much work. He did not run away to the Himalayas. Having gotten that Advaita Jnana, he did not go and sit separately. He walked the length and breadth of Bharata multiple times, establishing all these various Annaya Pithas and therefore establishing that Advaita Jnana. So, even after getting that Advaita Jnana, we see Jnanis do not shirk their responsibilities. So, even for a sadhaka, we have to continue doing our own responsibilities and continue on the same marga. And still this Advaita Jnana is not going to move you away from those responsibilities even a little bit. It is going to help you live in this world knowing that all of this is an appearance. Let us say here we will take another example, an actor on stage. An actor practices so much and he gets into his skin of the character, and when we see it on the stage, any acting, if that person is an excellent actor, we think, oh, such beautiful portrayal of the character. That person has actually become the character himself. That's how we feel. But the actor all through the acting knows that I am not this person. Even for a moment he does not forget who his original self is. He might be, whether it is a tragedy or a comedy, whatever emotions that he has to portray, he will portray it beautifully across on the stage. But even for one single moment, he is not going to forget his true nature. But for all the audience looking at him, it will feel like he has really become that character itself. Similarly, the person with this jnana, he can put on any kind of character that he wants in this world, and he does not have to give up anything. All through he knows his original self, and that Atma Vastu will always be Prakasha for him. That is Swayam Prakasha, it is self-effulgent. There is no necessity, it is so Sahaja also. See, that actor does not have to put in effort, he does not have to keep saying, I am this person, I am this person, I am this person, go on acting. It is so natural to him, he cannot forget what his true nature is, though he is putting on this whole act in front of people. Similarly, for a jnani, this whole whatever responsibility that he has in this world, he will perform it beautifully, just like the actor puts on his character. All the responsibilities, all the relationship, all the duties, whatever has to be done will be done perfectly. There will be nothing that goes wrong. But he will know what his true self is. He will know that Atma Vastu, and there is no problem, there is no dichotomy between Advaita Jnana and the responsibilities of this world.
So, how can understanding these Advaita concepts help us lead a life of happier and better lives?
So, these Advaita concepts can be brought about in everyday life. Now, we saw the examples of various jnanis. But I am not a jnani, I have not yet attained that level of Advaita Jnana. How does it become useful for me? So, that is a very practical question. Here Bhagavan says in the Bhagavad Gita, Nehabhikrama nashosti pratyavayo navidyate swalpamapyasya dharmasya trayate mahato bhayat. Meaning, even a little amount of this jnana is going to be so useful to you that it is going to protect you from the greatest of dangers. Greatest of danger for us is the fear of mrityu, the fear of death. Even from that greatest fear, even a small amount of this knowledge is going to protect you. So, this Vedanta Jnana is such a powerful pill that even when you listen to a little of it and start practicing it, you gain a sense of equanimity in life. In Bhagavad Gita, in a lot of places, the various characteristics of Jnani are enumerated. So, in the first time, in the second chapter of Bhagavad Gita, where these characteristics are enumerated as the Sthitaprajna Lakshana, there Bhagavad-pada in his commentary he says that many characteristics are going to be enumerated now. Wherever these are being told, in whichever grantha it might be across the Shastras, it is all the characteristics of the perfect Jnani. What use are these to the sadhakas? For the Jnani, these characteristics are so natural, like we saw in the actor's example. A sadhaka has to take these same characteristics and try to practice them in his everyday life. So, for a Jnani, not having anger might be so natural. He will not get angry due to small things. But for a sadhaka, this has to be practiced. So, first you might start getting angry at every small thing, that might be your nature. Then you go back and listen to this Upadesha. Then next time you get angry, the anger might come out, but at least you know, oh, I got angry. And you have this retrospective thinking that I should not have gotten angry at this point of time. And slowly when you start thinking and practicing in this way, later when that anger arises itself, you start saying, oh, at this time anger arose, I should not be getting angry. And probably over a practice of few years, then before the anger arises, this thought comes that the anger is going to come, I should not get angry. So, this is the way a sadhaka practices, whether it is control of anger, control of desire, or having detachment towards everything. Each of this is a practice for the sadhaka. That which is so natural to a jnani is a practice for a sadhaka. So, whatever is sahaja for a jnani is a sadhana for the sadhaka. Hence, all this knowledge that is there, Advaita, can be brought in for everyday practice. It is not something that is there just in the book. It is something that is so intimate that should be put in practice for every day.
Okay. So, coming to the most practical questions, what are the small steps that one can do to start understanding these Advaita concepts in their lives?
In Advaita itself, there is a way of going through the Shastra. Yajnavalkya in the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, he says, Shrotavyo mantavyaha nididhyāsitavyaha. Meaning, so one has to listen, and then one has to contemplate, and one has to meditate upon this truth. So, the first step is listening. Everybody has to start with śravaṇa of this jnana. The Upanishads itself say that even in listening to this jnana is very, very rare. Śravanayapi bahubhiryona labhyaha, says Yama in the Kathopanishad. Even to listen to this, many people do not have the bhagya. It is only by the punya of many janmas that we even come to listen to this jnana. And hence, having come towards this, it is very extremely necessary to make use of this and listen to it more and more and more. Because the Brahma Sutras also say, and all the acharyas say, that we have to listen to this multiple times. Bahubhihi shrotavyam bahudha shrotavyam. You have to listen to this multiple times from various people so that you get a clarity in the concepts. Nowadays, to start beginning with this, we have so many opportunities. For example, Aham Brahmasmi, through its various ways, is bringing this Vedanta śravaṇa to all the classes of people. By the grace of Ubhaya Jagadgurus, and Sannidhanam has given the direction. Shri Vidhushekara Bharati Mahaswami ji, few months back, the whole Gita Mahayajna has started, through which Aham Brahmasmi is conducting the Gita classes, meaning the Bhashya Pankti of Shankaracharya, that is being given to all the audience in various languages. So, the language is not a barrier at all. Through various Bharatiya languages, it is being given to the audience. So, like this, by the grace of our Jagadgurus, we are able to have access to that knowledge. And access to that knowledge is mainly through śravaṇa only. Śravaṇa is always the first step. Because you need the Guru who has come in the Sampradaya to understand this knowledge. And also we have books by all the great Mahatmas, the Charitas of our Gurus, the Charitas of various Jnanis like Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, Ramana Maharshi, Vivekananda, or our own Jagadgurus of the Sringeri Parampara. We have books in all the languages that are available, which we can take and read. It is important to be a stickler to Sampradaya also here. Because Acharya in the Bhashya mentions that even a person might be a great scholar, he might have read a lot of books and understood a lot of Shastra, but if he does not come in a Sampradaya, then all that Shastra goes to waste. Asampradayavit murkhavad upekshaniyaha, he says. Even though he might be a great Pandita, if he has not learnt it in the right Sampradaya, then he should be considered a fool. Because that a lamp can be lit only from another lamp. You cannot light a lamp from the photo of a lamp, or even a holographic projection of a lamp or a video of a lamp, nothing. You can only light a lamp from another lamp. Similarly, this jnana parampara that is there, that is why we always go back to the original source. We all begin by listening to various lectures, and then you slowly go towards the source of Upanishads or to the words of jnanis themselves. An Advaita jnani, any word that he speaks, that itself is equivalent to Upanishad. So, we always go back to that Guru and we take shelter at the feet of the Guru. So, we request everybody to make use of these various opportunities that are there for Śravana. So, we begin with that Śravana and we take aid of all the Sad Granthas that are available in various languages and use them to increase our understanding of this Advaita Vedanta.
Thank you very much. It was indeed a very nice session, knowledgeable session. Just getting to know the fact that starting be it microcosm or macrocosm, be it from the mineral world to the plant kingdom, to the animal kingdom, to the humankind, that same divinity is there in all of us. So that feels really good. Thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and insights with this discourse. Humble pranams, T.
Namo Namaha. Namah Sharadambaye.